What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Balanced Perception YouTube channel. And today we are back with some armor. We have made tons and tons of helmets and I've gotten pretty decent at them, but I have a lot of work to still do in the armor department. So that's what we're going to be working on today, specifically Red Hood's armor. So let's hop to it. What we have here are two pieces of armor that I went ahead and printed out on my Solval SV08 Max. We've got some sanding and some work to do on them, but I'll do all that prior to getting into the actual meat and potatoes of this episode. What I'm trying to really do is figure out how to use leather straps, metal brackets or braces, I'm not exactly sure what these are called, D-rings specifically, and some extremely strong Velcro to attach this and keep it to my body. This is extremely important because this is going to be essentially my test run to make sure everything fits for my Lich King armor sitting over here in the corner. It does stay on, but not as well as I want, and I'm very nervous about it at a convention. Moving around, bumping into people, definitely nervous it will come off. So if I can get this to work right, I'll go ahead and apply these same methods to that armor. Something else we're going to be doing this episode is currently, hopefully this doesn't mess up the microphone too much, but as you guys can see, this chest piece does fit, but these pieces up here kind of go over my shoulders in a way that I do not really like. So what I'm thinking of doing is actually taking my heat gun and bending it down and molding it a little bit. Not sure if that will work. It'll be the first time that I ever tried doing this, but we will give it a shot and see. We also have our abs here. We will be using them to attach to the chest piece here. Oh, let's see if I can show you guys, like so, like that. They will go together. Yep, just like that. And then we're going to essentially use these leather straps to attach them in the back here so that it kind of hangs down and stays attached. And if ever I wanted to, I don't know, maybe use some magnets to detach it. I'm not really sure. We're gonna figure this out as we go along. But without further ado, let's hop to the first step, which is sanding these down and molding these top pieces to our liking, specifically the molding part. Okay, so we're back from the garage. That actually worked a lot better than I anticipated. We used our Porter cable heat gun. I can link that for you guys. I'm not exactly sure how hot this gets. All I know is I turned it to the hottest temperature, kept it maybe about 4 to 5, somewhere 6 inches away from the chest plate, and I just heated it up. TPU has a melting temperature of around 220 to like 250, I believe. I actually 3D print these at 250 degrees. So this gun obviously had to be somewhere in between that range to make it melt. And all I did was melt it. And as you can see, it's no longer like sticking up or protruding up. It actually bends down and conforms to my shoulders a lot better now. So I would definitely consider that a success. You don't know things until you try a lot of things. So I do now know that that works, and I will definitely be using that technique a lot more moving forward. I will say I actually bent this one a little bit sooner than I should have. It wasn't as hot as it needed to be. It's fine, we can still work with it, but that's just something you need to note. Make sure it's hot enough. I kept the gun on each, side or whatever for maybe about 30 seconds, and that got it to where it needed to be. So if you guys are interested in using that technique, it definitely works. Again, I'll link this for you guys. And, excuse me, you can definitely give that a try. So I'm gonna head down to the garage, sand these down, and I'll be right back. All right, as you can see, we have our pieces sanded and they are primed and ready to go for painting. I spent a ton of time sanding these and getting them ready, and they look extremely well. I mean, it's phenomenal. They look great. Oh, well, long story short, I spent about 30 minutes actually sanding each of these pieces. So that's why they look a lot better than some of my previous sanding pieces, because I spent more time on them. So yeah, just an added bonus for you guys. Spend time sanding and your pieces will look great. So now let's go ahead and tape everything off, and then we're gonna go outside and spray paint. So it's been a few days, but we are finally ready to move forward. I got everything airbrushed. It turned out pretty well, as you guys can see. Had a few issues with my airbrusher because I haven't done it in so long, a few jams, but I now know how to, rectify those issues if they present themselves again. Just thinning out the paint a bit more will stop multiple jams. So little tidbit for you if you guys are also airbrushing. Anyways though, our pieces are ready to finally assemble and put together like so. So what we're going to try to do now is use our Velcro. This right here actually came in. It's Extreme Outdoor Tape Strong Velcro brand. We'll see how strong it is. What I plan to do is basically take this and attach it to the back of here with 3 strips most likely, and suspend it from there. It takes about 15 minutes to dry, so that's what we're gonna go for first, to attach these 2 pieces together. And with Velcro, of course, obviously, you can take it off whenever you want, so that's, of course, an added bonus. Once that's done, we will probably move on to this right here. We're going to try to use these D-rings and some glue to make basically a strap that goes around my shoulders to keep this on, or maybe around the side. Haven't really figured that out yet, but we're gonna go with the first Velcroing part. So let's hop to it. Our first piece of Velcro, we're just going to run down the center here, basically right through here. We don't wanna use too much, but we also don't wanna use too little. Not exactly sure what the ratio is of how much we wanna use, but we wanna basically have it so that there's enough room up here for it to adhere and enough room on the back for it to adhere also. So that's essentially what we're gonna do. And I think we're just going to make a cut right around here. There we go. And then we're going to use this strip to basically be the guide for our other 3 pieces in terms of length. So we'll take that piece, do the exact same thing with this one, and one more. Like so. There we go. And now we're just gonna go ahead and adhere it. As I mentioned before, my goal is for these 2 pieces to be, basically you can remove them if you want. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is attach them together with the Velcro, but then cut them so that the only thing that will be adhering them when they actually do hold together is the Velcro strip piece. That's my plan. Not sure how this is going to work, but we shall soon find out. So let's do this. Actually, first I'm gonna wipe down this area so we can get a better adhering. We used our 91% alcohol. Let's go ahead and get to the fun part. I'm gonna peel off the tape from the back of this. And I have to admit, I did actually stick the 2 pieces together and it adhered very, very tightly. So, that's gonna give me hope that this is actually going to work. We got our strip off. Now for the oh-so fun part of adhering them together. Let's see here. Got our first part down there. Let's make sure these line up like so, which they do. Yep, and just like that, we have stuck the 2 together. We're gonna let them dry, well, whatever, adhere for 15 minutes. I think I'm actually gonna go ahead and do the next two. I'm gonna have to figure out, I'm thinking up here on the sides and maybe over here on the sides, I'm not sure. Let's figure this out. All right, so while I was waiting for the alcohol to dry on these two areas, I went ahead and decided that I am going to put the next Velcro piece up here and the last piece down here. So let's go ahead and remove the back piece of this one. I will admit they're kind of difficult sometimes to get off, but this one didn't seem to have as much trouble as the first one. Come on, well, let me not speak too soon. There we go. We're gonna line these up like so, as best as we can to our ability. Yep, like that. And then, well, I feel more comfortable doing it this way. There we go. They are now lined up, and I have an even piece on both sides, as much as I can to the naked eye. And that's how we're going to attach that piece, just like that. And now for the last one, let's spin this around. Do the exact same thing. There I go, mentioning that hard to get off back piece. There we go. It is off. And now for the last piece, we're going to do right up here. I think that's a decent amount on both sides. Press it down a little bit. And just like that, they are together. Gonna wait 15 minutes, come back and check on it. All right, it's been a little over 15 minutes and these things are, I mean, they are adhered. You are not getting these up. I have to say the bond is much stronger than I thought it would be, so we are completely good to go here. And I was actually doing some thinking and I think I'm going to leave them attached together like so that it looks like this on the front part. A little bit of touch-up painting we still have to do here, but we're gonna leave it like this. And I decided what I'm actually going to do for the straps here is run them in an X-shaped pattern across my back, and these will be removable. So we're going to put Velcro on these end pieces here, attach them here, and like so. I went ahead and cut out 2 elastic strips that I'm going to be using. So we're just going to go ahead and attach these, wait 15 minutes and go from there. But first, let's do a quick fit check. So here's how we're looking so far. It's just literally holding on right now with friction, but this is how it's going to look overall. Not so bad, right? So let's go ahead and get these straps put on, and that'll pretty much be it. Right, so we're going to go ahead and put down our Velcro strips onto our elastic straps. Again, I will link this for you guys if you're interested. Nothing special, elastic straps is literally from Walmart. I'm hoping that these adhere. Not so sure how this is gonna work, but we will find out together. So the first piece is going to go onto the front half here, like so. Well, it does seem to be wanting to stick, so that's a good sign. Yep, we're gonna glue that here. And then we're probably just gonna trim off the excess. So this part is gonna go like so onto the strap, and then the second part is going to go on the bottom. So let's go ahead and flip that around so that you guys can see. Hopefully, yeah. So we're gonna put this part on here. Second one is going on here like so. I'm just gonna flip it over to make sure we're in the middle, which we pretty much are for this one. And that one is on. We're just gonna let that dry, and then the exact same thing for the other one. So after a few hours, this is what we have. Our straps adhere to the Velcro pieces. Have this one on here. I will admit that this glue bond or whatever is not as strong as I want, but it will do the job for now. I did end up using clamps to adhere this to the back of the Velcro, of the elastic strap. And I would just say if you're gonna do this, probably use some glue like E6000 or JB Weld if you really want it to never come loose, or even super glue will work. But if you don't have any, just to let you know, it will in fact actually hold as long as you allow enough slack in the pieces for when you actually strap it to yourself. Now for the final absolute best part of this video, the final fit. Let's get to it. So here you have it, the final fit. Everything came out well. It has been airbrushed, it's been glued together. The Velcro straps have been put on. And as you can see, it goes across my back in the strap formation. Everything's going well. I love that I actually use the elastic straps rather than rigid straps because it allows, you know, some play when it comes to moving my arms. I will admit that squatting down is a bit of a problem, but I'll be standing upright. So we actually have the helmet for this. I'm probably gonna put that on in a second to show you guys what we have so far. I still have to print the guns and I still have to print the belt, but we're making progress. And I definitely learned a lot about straps for making our Lich King armor. I feel pretty confident in what I'm going to do with that armor, so that's probably the next piece of armor you'll actually be seeing on the channel, but here we have it. You can see, absolutely phenomenal. We still have to clear coat it, but loving the way this came out. I can put both my hands up like that, not so much closer together because the pieces stop me from coming together, much more like my shoulders together, but I can still do that nonetheless. Overall though, I really like the way that this came out. I will say, maybe I could print it in TPU, but for now, PETG has been perfectly fine. So let's throw on the helmet to do the absolutely final fit. So here we have the other piece of this cosplay. This helmet, we made it a few episodes back. If you are curious about that, feel free to check that out on my channel. Whole video of how I made this one. It actually sits over here with tons of other helmets. So let's go ahead and get this on. If you guys do remember, this helmet is magnetic. That's awesome. Lets you just snap the pieces on. I'm going to try to get this on without taking them all off. Let's see, that's why I've got this on my head. So let's see if I can do this. 1 second. My hair does always make a problem, but we should, be able to do this, which we did. There we go. We are good to go. And then snap that back on and boom, there you have it. Everything is fitting together. The helmet, the armor, everything is now on. So this is what we have so far. We still have to make the guns, we still have to make the belt, but overall, not too bad. Definitely loving the way it looks so far. Hopefully you guys do too, and also hopefully you liked this actual episode. If you did, feel free to give it a like. Definitely helps out the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much, and always stay balanced. See you guys. Bye-bye.